Joining us now, standing in for Ginika Okpe, is Jennifer Olize, with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Dr.
Welcome to
Hello,
the morning
show. Hello, Rufai. How are you doing today?
Good, Jennifer. Bless you.
Nice to see you all. Let's begin what's trending. With the June 12th struggles, a realization on the need for everyone to get involved in politics and governance is reawakening of the political consciousness of Nigerians. President Bola Tinubu was able to list some of the Nigerians that fought for the democracy of the country. Names like Chief MKO Abiola, his wife Kudirat Abiola, Alfred Rewani, Shehu Musa Yaradua, Dr. Chukwuma Ezife, and the likes of Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, Frank Kokori, Chief Ayo Okpe, and Gani Fayehimi, amongst others.
Right. Of course, you know, when you look at the spread from this day, one of the biggest takeaways there was, although this day was not mentioned in the president's lineup, of course, he couldn't mention everyone. It's important for us to remember the role played by this day. I know yesterday Dr. Abati gave us a very insightful, account of history, about how so many of the publications had been shut down, and that created room for this day to emerge and to continue the fight and the struggle, such that even the chairman of the organization had to go into exile at some point because of the harassment that he was facing from the Abacha junta at that time. So also very important for us to continue to tell our own stories and position and remember all those who partook in the fight.
To the story that I told yesterday. Between 1994 and 1995, 3 newspapers were proscribed. Punch, The Guardian, National Concord. And, you know, that led to the harassment. The Abacha government didn't understand what it meant, you know, to have a free press. And books have been written on this, you know, about the repression that the media went through. And it was in that context that many journalists, including my good self, including Efene, became jobless. Okay, some people went and joined some other papers for a while. Some did not join. But it was within that context that we had the creation, the establishment of This Day newspaper, as I pointed out yesterday by Prince Nduka Obaigbena. Now, This Day newspaper provided, you know, a convergence point for many of these journalists who were no longer, you know, employed. And then, of course, some of the people who left from African Concord set up the news, Tempo, you know, then you had Tell also emerging around that particular time. And still, the repression continued. It wasn't enough for the Abacha administration to shut down, you know, 3 major newspapers. People were attacked, houses were, you know, attacked. Even babies were not spared.
Oh, no.
That Kolonu Yomi had to run away. They took his wife and his baby. And this day also was part of it, of the repression when it emerged in 95. Because, you know, Nigerian journalism, there's a tradition of crusading journalism. And the courage that journalists have shown became the, departure point, this tradition of This Day newspaper. And what she referred to, Prince Nduka Obaigbena, for, you know, continuing with this culture of activism, was invited by Colonel Franco Menka. There was a man at that time called Colonel Franco Menka, who was in charge of DMI. It was during that season that you will be told that, look, you will be wasted and nothing will happen. And indeed, quite a number of people were wasted. Oh, no. And Prince Nduka Obaigbena was one of those persons who had to go into exile because it was a mad season in Nigeria, to use that word advisedly. And that was why people started saying, never again, never again. And then the Ekwetedo declaration, when Chief MKO Abiola declared that enough was enough. And as I pointed out, you know, one of the major paragraphs that says, enough of military rule, enough of this oppression. And he stood up as a matter. So the whole point that we're making, as Chief Olusegun Oshoba also pointed out, was that the media, you know, played a major role, in this struggle. But the thing about the media is that we don't praise ourselves often enough. And hence, people forget, that the media has been there since, the beginning of, newspaper
Yeah, 100%
in Nigeria
right.
with Henry Townsend's Iwe Yoruba, up to now, 1859 to the present. We've been there.
Nice.
The unfortunate
100%.
thing, as Chief Olusegun Oshoba pointed out, is that the freedom that journalists, exercise must also come with responsibility. Yes. But in the age of 140-word intellectuals who go on Twitter or X, they call it, or they go on TikTok, so there's been a lot of abuse. But whatever right
100%.
that you exercise must come with responsibility. It's called responsible journalism. That was the old tradition.
So the truth is, for the fact that we can even talk about June 12th on television extensively, shows that we've made a lot of progress.
Of course.
There was a time, up till 1999, I remember when people would want to come out to protest on June 12th, they would be rounded up by the military and beaten blue-black.
There was no freedom of speech back then.
In fact, even when we returned to democracy, and the governors of the Southwest, and today I give tribute to President Tinubu, he was governor then, and a couple of other Southwestern state governors, when they started declaring public holiday for July 7, which was the day Abiola died, and around June 12 celebrations, they were being mocked. Not until when President Buhari finally made that declaration and made it Democracy Day, before he gained a national acceptance. So for the fact that we are even talking about it, it means that there's been a lot of advancement. But the question is, even with this advancement, we must not forget that we are not there yet. I mean, we've talked about the historical antecedents of the Nigerian media as a crusading media. Apart from the work this day did in June 12, I'd like to even dial back further that in the conversations that led up to June 12, the role of this week news magazine can never be forgotten. This week was all from the stable of President Okpe, a precursor to this day, and it helped a lot to be able to shape the narrative around even the emergence of June 12, because we forget in a hurry why Babangida has even called the name Maradona. The name emerged from the way he dribbled people as regards what was supposed to be the election dates. From the first announcement around 1990, 1991, before finally settled at 1990. In fact, a lot of people did not believe election was going to hold in 1993 because he had shifted the date one too many times. Hence, he got the moniker from Diego Armando Maradona's name, Maradona, because of his dribbling ways. And like I said before, Ibrahim Babangida still needs to give us his own memoir to be able to ensure that he tells his own parts of the story. Then the work of the crusading media that dates back into even our independence struggle, the likes of West African Pilot, Tribune newspaper, which is the oldest still running newspaper in this country, that fought the tyranny of the colonialists then, was still those that started fighting. And the fight continued. You know, when you look at the June 12 episode, you look at the journalists that were jailed, for getting hints of stories and things like that. Yesterday, somebody was saying, oh, we didn't mention Delegua. I just have to say the regular. Delegua had died before June 12, but yeah, we can't forget his role in the struggle for democracy. Then the likes of the Apoyo of this world, the Kaltos of this world, the Dele Alake, which is up for honorable mention. So we can't forget it. But when we also segue down into the conversation of this day newspaper, I've charted the historical trajectory from this week to this day, that was now the anchor point for most of these journalists. And also, apart from June 12, the role this day played in June 12, was the renaissance work it did as regards the emergence of democracy. How this day newspaper held the feet of the incumbent democratic government of Olusegun Obasanjo to the fire then. And that's why the works of Prince Nduka Obaegbana can never be forgotten in the annals of history. And how he has now morphed into Arise TV, that has now been one that are constantly. So kudos to Prince Nduka Obaegbana, all the publishers around that time. He lived to tell the story. The likes of Concord newspaper never lived to tell the story. It's a sad one because they were proscribed and they clamped down on them. Jennifer?
Okay. So, 100% correct. So let's continue on what's trending with this disclaimer. Now, Arise News dissociates itself from a deep fake video published on Facebook mimicking what's trending anchor Oji Okpe. The digitally altered video shows this likeness of Oji Okpe appearing to report that a well-known cardiologist has been attacked by a representative of a pharmaceutical company for revealing a secret cure for hypertension. The video has been shared several times on Facebook and has gathered over 199,000 views. Arise News states that the video is a handiwork of mischief makers doubling as fake news peddlers. The doctor in the video has not been independently verified by Arise News. For authentic Arise News content, we implore the public to visit our verified social media handles at Arise News channel on YouTube, at Arise TV on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Arise News Official on Instagram, and Arise News on Facebook. Now,
Whoa, Chineka.
I know, we need to discuss this because this is the effect of AI going on right now. There are the positive effects of AI and there are definitely negative effects of AI. I mean, that when I saw that video at first, it looked exactly like OG, sounded like OG. It's unbelievable. So this is what the future is turning into now, and this is what AI can do. What do you think about this?
Well, the threat that we face here.
It's definitely a
In
threat.
fact, we live in what they call alternative truths, alternative reality, the age of artificial intelligence, where there is a lot that is called deepfake, the age of misinformation, disinformation, black information, and exploitation, for dubious purposes. In this particular case, for commercial purposes. Now, if you look at it on the surface of it, I mean, they put Ojineka's picture there, but I think part of the price he has to pay for being a very prominent and successful journalist. When you are successful, all kinds of minions will try to exploit you. If you looked at the caption of the morning show there, that's not the logo of the morning show. That's not Arise News color that they have put in this second part where this doctor is, talking. Again, what has been done is criminal. It's misrepresentation. It's forgery. And I hope that efforts will be made to identify those who put this out because they can be sued.
Of course.
Because they've legally violated, the rights of Ojineka Okpe and also the rights of Arise News. And it is curious that this is happening at this time. Because one of the things we experience, when I talk about Junta, I'm not talking from Google. I was there. I was part of it. I wrote plenty of essays on the subject. One of the things that the Abacha government was doing at that time was that they were producing fake copies of newspapers. You see a copy of Tel magazine or a copy of the News or a copy of the of Punch newspaper or of the Guardian or any other newspaper, and it will be completely fake. And there were people doing this. To think that on the occasion of 25 years or 31 years, in fact, it's even happening in a worse manner. Because now, they can just put your face there and attribute words to you. So this is the point we're making about, yes, people have freedom, but they should also exercise that freedom with a sense of responsibility. Yeah. And it's because of things like this that people are calling for very strict regulation. Yeah. This is what they cite. They say, bloggers, they do what they like. People use technology. Why technology is good, it's also abuse. It has its discontents. But I think Ojineka should not worry too much. She has the option of insisting on Arise. And Arise News has the option also of investigating. So that we
definitely have to investigate more about that doctor in the video, whoever the doctor claims to be. But let's move on. So as yesterday was June 12th, it was filled with Democracy Day activities. The federal government unveiled a massive painting of President Bola Tinubu on a canvas in Abuja, marking the 25th anniversary of Democracy Day. Now, Democracy Day previously celebrated annually on May 29th, but in 2018, former President Buhari declared June 12 as the new date. The decision is aimed to honor MKO Abiola, the presumed winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. At this year's ceremony, the portrait, reportedly the world's largest on canvas, was revealed at Eagle Square as part of the celebrations. The artwork depicts Tinubu wearing a wine-colored agbada and a blue cap with his signature infinity symbol.
Yeah, I believe we discussed this earlier. I mean, it continues to be a strange occurrence, not the portrait itself. I think, he besides being the president, he's also paid his dues as an activist and a politician and so forth. He has done well for himself, so we're not taking that away from him. But it was just the positioning, the timing. Could it have been done elsewhere, possibly on a different day? Because we know the significance of Democracy Day, and we've been harping on and on and on about preserving the truth of what transpired, preserving the integrity and the authenticity of what we're marking and commemorating when we say June 12th. So, distasteful, I think wrong time, wrong place, fantastic portrait, wrong time, wrong place.
It is a lovely portrait, but I mean, what could have been a substitute to that image?
Oh, a lot of things could have been a substitute to that image.
Because a lot of people are complaining, but I'm thinking, what else?
I will have thought a collage with an MQ Abiola picture in front of it, because when you talk about June 12th, it's MQ Abiola's mandate. The supporters of President Tinubu always sing, "On your mandate, we shall stand." Bola, that's his mandate. June 12th is MQ Abiola's mandate. Let's not forget that. What is June 12th? A man won a presidential election fair and square, and he was denied of his mandate. And in the process of trying to insist on that mandate, he was sent to jail and he was killed. And a lot of people that claimed they loved him betrayed him. That's the story of June 12th, fair and square. He won an election and he was denied of his mandate. So I would have thought June 12th should be, if you're going to have a portrait, which we have never even asked how much that cost taxpayers, it should be about an MQ and Abiola with, a collage of people around him that sacrificed. Or a name board. I would have even favored a name board. June 12th, MQ Abiola in the middle, but names and names and names and names of as many people. Or a memorial wall for June 12th.
I like a memorial wall.
Till today, I'm not sure we have a memorial wall for June 12th, where we have a big wall that everybody that participated in June 12th. I mean, I go to Plymouth to go see the memorial wall for survivors, for those that died in the world wars. A memorial wall with every name possible. It should be there. But not this, giant thing about, presenting. No. It is, let's not lose the essence. It's about MK Abiola's mandates. And in the process of fighting for that mandate, he passed. Let's not forget that. So, I mean, going forward also, a memorial wall. In fact, while we're speaking, somebody sent me something interesting. He said, do we know that where we have Apple legislative quarters, MK Abiola was, I think he was locked up around there. Let me even read the message he sent, because this is another key participant. He said, MK Abiola was detained at what is now the Apple legislative quarters. How about a memorial there? So these are the things we need to be able to do. How about June 12 scholarship scheme? So,
in a country where history is taught as an optional subject, you have this kind of revisionism. In a country that does not prioritize memory. There's something about memory as part of culture. We don't do enough of that here. If we go to countries like Egypt, if we go to Rwanda, let's even use, a closer 4-hour away example, you see they have these memorials where you see the history. I think we need to pay more attention to the culture of remembering, of memorialization, to educate future generations. It's not everything that you go to Google to see. You can build a sense of community by writing your own history in a proper manner and not in a, personal, sycophantic manner. There are people who are professionals who know how to do this and who will do it properly. Proper historification, rather than a group of artists who can't even draw very well anyway. They can't paint well. That they are painting. If I write an essay on it, they will send it back to them.
A June 12 museum.
They could do a better thing.
Anyway, that's correct.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Well, that's all we have on this edition of the Morning Show.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, with a very famous name, Ulise. Jennifer Ulise.